Welcome to this quick recovery session designed to be used during your premenstrual and menstrual phase. So it's that phase of the cycle where we're aiming to protect our hard-earned muscle, protect our body's resources, and kind of tone it down a little bit. So these are the last few days of your cycle and the heaviest days of your bleed. So you can think of today as kind of a sequenced stretch session. So we're going to take static stretching, but just add a little bit of flow, a little bit of breathing to help your body recover better. It's focused on the hips and the hamstrings, so it's a great complement to any lower body strength work that you've been engaging in this cycle and should feel really good by the end. It can also help alleviate any lower back strain that you might be experiencing by just creating that space and length in the lower body muscles. So we'll start our practice in a comfortable child's pose. Let your knees be wide apart, your big toes touch, and slowly soften to the mat. You can have your arms outstretched and allow the heart, belly, chest to melt towards the ground. You can sway your hips side to side and just start to scan the body from head to toe, gathering information about how you're feeling, where you're feeling, what parts of your body feel open, where do you feel any tightness, any sensation. And then begin to consciously deepen the breath in through the nose. Feel your ribcage expand and exhale through the nose. Part of this practice will be to drop into that deep breath rhythm to activate our rest and digest mode that will help us recover better, help support this part of the cycle. And then as you're ready, slowly lift up on an inhale, and we'll start to walk the hands over to the left. Reach through your fingertips, heavy the right sitting bone to the right heel. Feel that length in the right side waist. And here, let's take a big breath, inflate the rib cage. And then as you exhale, soften, melt into the earth. On your next inhale, come up ever so slightly, walk your hands over to the right now. Heavying the hips, the left hip toward the left heel. And again here, breathing to expand the rib cage. So especially in this side waist opening, you can feel that expansion out and in of the breath. With your next in-breath, walk through center. Here we're going to take the right arm, thread it under the left. Let your right ear come to the mat. And then as you press the back of your right hand into the earth, gently draw your upper right arm bone back to the right. So you feel this traction in the outer arm. You can heavy your chest, relaxing the torso onto that arm to deepen the stretch. And getting a little bit of rotation in the upper back, keeping the hips nice and square and even. Inhale, exchange. Right hand comes forward, left arm threads under. Again, left ear to the mat. You can press the back of your left hand into the earth and then really energetically draw the head of the left arm bone back toward the left shoulder. Softening into each new stretch, each new shape with your breath. And we'll slowly start to come back up through center. From your child's pose, we'll walk up into cat and cow. So coming into tabletop, you'll lift the spine, let your shoulders hover over the wrists, the hips are over the knees. With an inhale, extend your spine, drag the heels of the hands and the knees toward each other. And then as you exhale, create the opposite action. So press the finger pads forward, drag the shins back to around the spine. Inhale, hug the heels of the hands and the knees together. Extend the spine, shine the sitting bones back. And exhale, press down and away, round the spine, chin to chest. Let the head hang heavy. One more round like that. Inhale, extend the spine, feel all that length. And then as you exhale, round. Give the hips a little bit of a shimmy and a shake. And then we'll come back into tabletop. Keep your right shin planted on the mat. And as you inhale, extend your right arm, left leg into spinal balance. Find that place where you feel kind of the alignment in the horizontal plane. So the hips are square, shoulders are square, soft bend in the left elbow. Big inhale breath here. Lift the low ribs and the hip points toward each other. Stretch the heart forward. As you exhale, take your left knee out to the left, right elbow to the right. So it's this lateral movement. Inhale, back to center. As you exhale, nice and wide, like you're aiming the left knee towards the left elbow, the right elbow towards the hip. Inhale, stretch, and exhale. So we're integrating the belly here, integrating the shoulder and hip before we move into some deeper static stretches. Inhale, reach. Last one, exhale. This time as you inhale, reach. Take your right hand down to the mat. Extend your left toes back behind you. Let the ball of the foot come down. Then we're going to lean into that back heel, stretch the back of the lower leg so you feel that nice deep calf stretch here. Make sure you're spreading all 5 toes of that left foot. And breathing deeply. Engage the quadricep here so that leg stays straight and strong. Then we'll start to kickstand the right shin, take it out to the side so that it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Come onto the back heel, so back foot is parallel to the short side of your mat. And then we'll keep the right hand down, start to reach the left arm high, supported side plank. You can take that left arm overhead, really lengthen, so press through the knife edge of your left foot, reach through the left fingertips. Notice if you're collapsing in the bottom shoulder, can you press down to keep that spacious quality in the underside of the body? Big breath in, slow breath out. From here, let your right hand find your right hip. Left hand find your left hip. And then slowly start to elevate that left leg, supported half moon. So you feel the strength in the outer glutes, the length in the left side waist. You can once again reach the left arm overhead. And then from here, we're going to touch left hand to left toes. It's a big inhale breath. And then exhale, touch hand to toes. If that's too much, you can always bring hand to knee with the exhale. But we're just creating a little bit of fluidity here as we strengthen the obliques, the side waist, and the glutes. Try to keep your right side body stable so you're not leaning forward or back, but we're relying on the mobility, the flexibility in the left leg to allow this movement to happen. Last one here, exhale. Inhale, open. Start to bend into your left knee. Circle your left arm around. Find the outer edge of your left foot. Don't worry if they don't connect today. You can always just move in that direction. Then begin to press your foot into your hands into your foot, and allow your heart to slingshot through the upper arms without flaring the low ribs. So you're staying integrated in the low belly. Just getting this nice deep stretch across the left hip flexor. And then slowly release. Come back into supported side plank so that left foot touches down. You can press up onto the fingertips of your right foot, and we'll slowly rise up into a half kneeling position. So we have the right shin down, the left leg extended. I'll be opposite you in movement now that we're facing one another. And then we'll come into gate pose. So we reach the arms high, lengthen both sides of the waist. And as you exhale, left hand down the left thigh, right arm stretches up and over. If you like, you can turn the toes so that they face the short edge of your mat, get a little bit deeper stretch in the shin, or you can keep that foot parallel. This is an opportunity to really tune into what feels best in your body. So we'll take one more big breath here in gate pose. A little bit of a stretch, gentle stretch in the hamstring, more about the side waist opening here. Inhale, come back through center. And as you exhale, bend into that left knee so you feel this broadening across the bowl of the pelvis. Take your hands along the diagonal. Find that deep hip stretch. So we're walking the hands kind of to the back right corner of the mat. And then here you can start to soften the heart, belly, chest toward the earth. So come into almost downward dog in the arms. But wrap the left sitting bone underneath you to open that left knee. Come halfway up on your next inhale. And then as you exhale any amount, start to straighten that left leg. Deep, deep stretch here. Press down through the left heel. You might start to feel where you've been working the lower body throughout this cycle. Draw the left hip crease back as far as you can. Hug the left toes toward your shin. Just getting kind of tackling the hamstring flexibility from all angles today. Last big breath here. And we'll slowly walk the hands to the inside of the left foot. You can parallel your back shin, so now you're in a low lunge. Deep in this low lunge here, you can come onto the top of the back thigh, untuck the back toes, and just allow for some of that hip flexor lengthening in the right side. Then you can start to turn onto the knife edge of your left foot. Let your left knee open, but without collapse. So you're still actively pressing through the knife edge of your left foot. So this is more of an active stretch than a passive stretch. You can open and close the knee, adding that fluidity, maybe some dynamic movement in the static stretch. We'll be here a breath or two more. And we have the opportunity once again for a quad stretch. So we take the right hand, keep it planted on the mat. Start to spin your left arm open, find a twist. Keep squaring the hips to the front. So notice if your hips tend to want to come along for the ride, instead square them to your front foot. So drop that left hip crease down. Then bend into the back knee, come onto the top of the back thigh so you're not on the knee. And reach for the back foot wherever it connects. So it can be the toes, the heel, the inner or outer edge. And then see if you can soften into this posture. So really relax onto the top of your back thigh. You can add again some movement if you want to hug the heel, back heel into your sitting bone to create that connection. And then try to maintain that connection as you deepen the lunge once again. Slowly, as you're ready, coming out, find your lunge. And then we'll take the left knee back to tabletop and soften into puppy pose. So walk the hands out as far as they'll go. Soften heart, belly, chest toward the earth. Tilt the pelvis forward so that you're shining the sitting bones up and back. You're getting this deep stretch in the shoulders, under the armpits. You might even bring the chin to the mat. So looking to create space as you soften more and more. And then in your own way, we'll start to walk the hands back, come into tabletop. And we'll move through that same sequence on the second side now. So as you're ready, inhale, extend your right leg back, left arm forward. Find your equilibrium first. So you're lengthening in both directions. Hips and shoulders are square. We're hugging the low ribs and the hip points together. Once you have that, then stretch and extend through the center of the chest and the crown of the head forward. Big breath in here. And as you exhale, take your left elbow toward your left hip, or right knee toward your right elbow. Keep a micro bend in that right arm. Inhale, reach. Exhale, knee and elbow bend out to the side. Take it nice and wide. Inhale, reach. And exhale. So without compressing the sides of the waist, just feel that deep integration. So it's not a crunch, but we feel the contraction of the muscles that allow and facilitate the movement of the limbs. Let's take two more. Inhale, re-extend, and exhale. Last one, reach. And exhale. So you should start to feel that activation all the way around the belly here. Let your left hand touch down. Take your right toes to the mat. Spread all 5 toes, come onto the ball of the foot, and then sink into your back heel. Feel that deep stretch in the calf muscle here, the back of the right leg. Again, engage your quadricep to really straighten that back leg and feel the stretch from the back of the heel all the way up. Now begin to kickstand your left shin so that your shin is parallel to the short side of your mat. Bring your right heel down so that you're coming into supported side plank here. So we have this nice spacious quality in both sides of the waist. Right arm reaches overhead. Anchor the knife edge, the outer edge, pinky toe side of your right foot, and then lengthen in the opposite direction. So it's like you have this base of support that allows you to freely extend. Last big breath. And then bring your right hand to your right hip. Start to press through your left shin for support and allow your right leg to lift into half moon pose. So strong, strong pose for the glutes here. You can re-extend your right arm overhead. Take a big breath in. Then we'll bring the right toes to the right foot out in front of you. Again, you can always take the knee in instead of the toes if you need that leg to be bent. Exhale. And avoid, I can feel it on this side a little bit more, avoid the hips sinking back too far. So you want to keep this focused on the strength and length in the right leg. So we're not accommodating or making up for any gaps there by really leaning back, because that takes the work out, that takes the purpose out of this movement. Last one here, inhale, and exhale, tap the toes. Inhale, re-extend. This time, bend your right knee. Start to circle the right arm back behind you and find that foot. Wherever your hand and foot connect, maybe they don't today, and that's okay. And then press your foot into your hand into your foot for half bow. This is Ardha Dhanurasana, or a variation of half bow, to open the quads. Slowly release, keep that leg extended, and then let it touch down. And in your own way, begin to arc, come up into gate pose. So this half kneeling position, reach the arms overhead. And as you exhale, take the right hand down the right leg, left arm stretches up and over. Really anchor down through the left shin, top of the left foot. Spin the left shoulder open so that you have kind of this parallel or same plane in the shoulders and the rest of the body, so we're not twisting the torso at all. Slowly rise back up. Both arms reach. And then as you exhale, bend deeply into your right knee, broaden across the bowl of the pelvis. Take your hands down inside your right foot, walk them along the diagonal, and then soften heart, belly, chest toward the earth. So it's like downward dog in the upper body. We've got sort of this half warrior two shape in the lower body. Dial that right knee open. Soften and expand across the bowl of the pelvis. Where are you gripping and where are you holding that you might have an opportunity to let go here? For me, I feel it a little bit in my lower back, trying to hold my body in space. So it's that conscious melting towards the ground. As you're ready, come back up, walk the hands in, and then any amount we straighten that right leg. Definitely feeling the legs today in these kind of intentional body shapes that we create to really target the muscle flexibility. So this is that flexibility pillar in strength training, in fitness, where we improve range of motion. And the flexibility part is the static length of the muscle, so the static range of motion that we have. Mobility is then when we add movement within that range of motion. Last big breath here. And then slowly start to walk the hands to the inside of the right foot, parallel your back shin. So you're coming into this nice deep lunge. Come onto the top of the back thigh so you feel that hip flexor lengthening. Then you can turn onto the knife edge of your right foot, let that knee splay open. And then just alternate, kind of coming in through center and back out. Again, here you're really pressing down through the knife edge so that you're not collapsing, not dropping the hip, but it's that conscious opening, that conscious release. Last one like this. And then bring the right foot back down. Keep your left hand planted. Take your right hand to your right knee. Twist the heart open. Keep the hips nice and square. Extend your right arm. Then as you come even further forward so that you're on the top of the back thigh, bend the back knee, reach for the inner edge of the foot or the toes, wherever it lands. And then here, creating some of that movement. So you can bring the hips back, hug the heel to the sitting bone, and then maintain that connection, heel to sitting bone, as you drop the hips forward. So we come back, we connect, and then we exhale to deepen. Last big breath here. Maybe spin the heart open a bit further. And slowly release. Let the hands come back down inside the right foot. Enjoy a few breaths here in lizard pose once again. And then we'll take the right knee back to join the left, coming into tabletop. Then in your own way, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, downward facing dog. So we won't be in downward dog very long or very often today. So really just enjoy this opening for the spine. Soften heart, belly, chest towards the thighs. Wrap inner upper arm bones forward in space. So you have that strong that strong support of the shoulders. Then wrap the inner upper thigh bones to the back of the room without knocking the knees in. So it's more of an energetic intention here. See if you can lift the shoulder blades toward the hips to create more space in the shoulders and the neck. So it's that from pressing and kind of closing the gap between ears and shoulders to then lengthening here. Bring the big toes to touch as you inhale. Lift the right leg high. Bend that right knee, open the hip any amount. Square the shoulders to the mat so that you feel that freedom, that independence of the hips and rib cage to move independently. You might even circle the hip here. We won't be here very long. And then slowly touch the right foot down, exchange, left leg high, let that hip open. So really root down through the right heel. As you square the shoulders, you start to feel that spacious quality in the back of the right leg. Slowly touch the left foot down. As you inhale, come forward into plank position, shoulders over the wrists, lower down to the belly all the way. And then baby cobra, let the hands float off the mat as you hug the elbows back towards the hips, hug them into your sides. Stretch the legs, keep them straight and strong. Tuck the toes under, engage the quads to lift the knees. Inhale, plank pose, and exhale, downward dog. 2 more rounds of this mini vinyasa, half vinyasa. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, lower to the belly. This time, spider your fingers out wide, tip your elbows up, and then unfold, unroll the shoulders up. Keep the hips grounded. Lengthen the legs back so you have space in the lower back, and then stretch up through the heart. Free the neck, move the head side to side, and slowly lower down. Once again, tuck the toes, lift the knees. Inhale, plank, and exhale, downward dog. Last round here, inhale, rolling forward. So we're just kind of resetting with a bit of movement. Lower all the way to the belly. Upward dog this time. So the hands are back behind the shoulders. That's a key point of alignment here that sometimes gets missed. Roll the shoulders back and down. Hug the elbows into your sides. Imagine like you're trying to dial the thumbs open, like you're trying to rotate, but your hands don't move. And then we're going to drag the heels of the hands back to slide the heart forward. We press up, straighten the arms, lift the hips, thighs, and shins off the mat. So the shoulders should be directly over the wrists here. Again, create that dialing open of the thumbs to broaden the collarbones. Stretch back through the legs, activate the legs, and downward facing dog. From here, walk your feet towards your hands towards your feet so that we meet in the middle of the mat. You can have a generous bend in your knees and this forward bend. As you inhale, halfway lift. Take your right leg, sweep it up and back behind you, but keep the hips square. So not your fullest standing splits here, more of a leg lift, more like warrior 3 or a little higher. And then cross your right leg, right foot behind the left. I want you to walk the left foot a little bit further to the right. So you kind of heel toe the feet so that they're wider apart. Come onto the knife edges, the pinky toe sides of both feet. Bend deeply into your left knee. The limbs get twisted. It's kind of hard to tell left from right. Then we're going to walk our hands over towards that right foot. Keep pressing through the knife edge, bending into the left knee while the right leg is straight and strong. You should feel this very deep stretch across the outer right leg. Last big breath here. And slowly come back through center. So hands are in the center now. I want you to walk your hands to the right. Stay on the ball mounds of the feet. So we're pivoting on the ball mounds of the feet back to the back of your mat. And then we're just going to continue turning, pivoting on the ball mounds of the feet. So now the right leg is forward, the left leg is behind. So again, it's a little bit of a pretzel, but in this phase of the cycle, kind of this low hormone transition, we tend to have better left and right brain communication. There's less hormone interference. So humor me, stay with me. If you need to just switch legs, know that your right leg is forward now, left leg is behind. So we're heel toeing the feet a little bit wider apart. Come onto the pinky toe side of both feet. Press down firmly. And then bend deeply into your right knee. Keep your left leg straight and strong. Walk your hands over toward the left. Right, towards the right toes. My apologies, left and right escaping me today. So keep bending into that right knee, straightening the left leg, lengthening the left hip crease away from the left toes. Very deep stretch here. And then we'll come back through center. Start to walk your hands toward your right foot to untwist the legs. So pivot on the ball mounds of the feet. And now we're facing the other direction. You can heel toe your feet a little bit closer together so that they're directly, your ankles are under your hips, so your feet about hips width distance apart. Lift halfway once again. Keep your left foot planted. Inhale, stretch your right leg up and back. Square the hips here. Shift the weight forward into the ball mound of the left foot so that you're stretching the hamstring in a really safe and effective way. So when the hips are too far back, that tends to pull on the insertion point. So instead, we want to be stretching in a safe way. Take an inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, slowly lower the back shin to the mat. So you should feel this really stretch into the left ankle as you lower that right shin down. Walk your hands back, or you can keep your hands out in front as you slowly come down into a seat. So you come back into that nice seated position here. And we're going to cradle the left shin in the arms. So you have that figure four shape in the left leg. Flexing the left foot, we want to just kind of cradle side to side. You can clasp the wrists or the hands. And we're hugging the shin bone toward the heart, belly, chest, lifting the heart, belly, chest up. So we have this nice deep stretch in the left hip here. So this one, kind of a combination of static and dynamic stretching. And then we'll start to extend the left leg long. Right leg long. Very sorry. Right leg extends long. You're holding your left leg. And then we stack. So we're going to take the left foot towards the right hip, stack the left knee on top of the right. So you're in half cow face pose. We're going to shift onto the very front of the sitting bones. So we tilt the pelvis forward, squeeze energy of the inner thighs to the midline. So feel that hug, kind of like an ego pose. And then ever so slightly, you're going to walk your hands forward. So here, you might feel the stretch in the right leg or maybe in the left hip. Keep the spine nice and long and breathe. Now we're shifting into that static stretching mode, working flexibility. So maintaining range of motion, length in the muscles that we work to contract in our strength training. Now we are kind of balancing that effort with some length. Then slowly start to walk your body up. Hug your left knee into your chest. Wrap your hands around the ball of your left foot so you can interlace the fingers or just clasp the hands. Then I want you to lift the heart into the thighs, so heart, belly, chest into the thigh. And we'll start to straighten that left leg any amount for heron pose with the right leg extended. So again here, aim the very center of your chest, your sternum toward your left big toe. Press through the ball mound of the feet into the hands. Draw the heads of your arm bones back into your shoulders. Then here, take your right hand, turn the thumb down. So you're turning the shoulder in, thumb down. Reach for the pinky side of your foot. And then we'll start to open that left arm. Notice if you're tilting way back and you bring the shoulders so that they're floating over the hips, crown of the head floating over the shoulders. Last big breath here. And then we'll come back. You can cross at the wrists or the forearms for one last big stretch here. Maybe round into the upper back a little bit. And then we'll bend the knee once again. Bring that left foot down to the inside of the right thigh. Reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, fold over your right leg. This is a variation of half Lord of the Fishes pose. Deep hamstring stretch. So you can engage the quadricep by pressing the back of the knee into the mat. That signals to the hamstring to relax. So it's kind of that antagonist relationship. When the quadricep contracts, the hamstring relaxes. Come up once again, reach your arms overhead and twist. Wrap your right arm around the left thigh. You can even take the elbow behind. For me in this position, I prefer just to have the wrap. It allows me to kind of deepen into the twist without leaning back. Lift up through the heart with a big inhale, create space between the bones of the spine, and then exhale, rotate more deeply. You can take your left hand behind if you like. So you're aiming your right low ribs toward your left thigh. Come back through center. And then here we're going to take the foot once again like half happy baby or archer pose. So we're taking the hip nice and wide, like you were pulling back the bow of a bow and arrow here. And you can even tuck your left shoulder under your right thigh if you like, to create a little bit more space, like you were wearing your leg like a backpack strap. And then we try to square the shoulders, lift the heart high, sort of this bound hip stretch. And this is the entry point, the progression to deeper hip openers, to deeper arm balances that we will have an opportunity to explore as you get deeper and deeper into your yoga practice. And then we'll bend the right knee, bring it underneath you. So again, we're kind of in that rocking, cradling of the left leg. We'll unravel slowly, take the left foot down. You can either have your hands at your heart, or if you need them for support, take them down to the mat. We'll shift weight from the sitting bones to the left foot, come onto your right shin. Hands touch the ground, lift your right leg high, standing splits. This time deepen, so you can take your forehead toward your shin, keep the weight moving into the ball mound of the foot. Keep squaring the hips, and slowly touch the right foot down. Forward fold. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, take that left shin to the mat now. Feel that deep stretch in the back of the right ankle, the calf there. And then we slowly start to come to a seat. Cradle the right shin in your arms, shifting side to side here, hugging that shin into your heart, belly, chest, lifting the shoulders so that they're directly over the hips. So these can be tiny rocks, or maybe it's more fluid. I feel a little bit of a stuck point in my right sitting bone, so offering a little bit of massage there. See if you can break up that kind of that stickiness so that it's more fluid through the range of motion. And then from here, we will extend the left leg long. Guide your right foot towards your left hip and stack your right knee on top of the left. Hug energy of the thighs to the midline. Lift up through the spine. As you exhale, walk your hands out, fold. Keep the heart stretching forward. You might press down with your hands and energetically drag back to deepen the stretch. So again, depending on where you're holding tension or where your body needs it most, you might be feeling this in the right hip or maybe through the left leg. From here, walk the hands back, lift the spine. Start to wrap your hands around the ball of your right foot. Keep that spine straight and tall the whole time. Then from here, any amount, straighten that right leg for heron pose. Press the foot into the hand, hands into the foot. Hug the heads of the arm bones back into the shoulder. Lift the shoulders so that they're floating over the hips. You might rock side to side once again. And then take your left hand, turn the thumb down, reach for the pinky toe side of your right foot, and then open the right arm to the side for revolved heron pose. You can circle the foot here, maybe feel the stretch in different places. And then coming back through center, bring your right hand to the other side. So cross at the ankles. Feel a little bit of a stretch in the upper back. And then we'll start to bend that right knee into chest. Take your right foot to the inside of the left leg. Reach the arms up straight and strong. And as you exhale, fold over your left leg. So this nice deep hamstring stretch. Keep hugging the right knee into the right elbow or armpit. Soften into the static stretch. So again, this is a recovery day practice. So we're looking just to stay in the low heart rate, low intensity. and facilitate deeper recovery so that our rest days are more effective. Slowly come up. And now we twist. So we take the right arm back, left arm wraps around the right thigh, aiming left low ribs toward that right leg. As you inhale, lift up through the bones of the spine, and exhale, rotate deeper. You might gaze over your right shoulder. And so I love making the rest day practice equal value to those hard effort days. So you work hard, but you also rest hard. So it's kind of this equal balance between the two. And then we slowly come back through center. This time we're going to take the right foot, bend the right knee out to the side for archer pose. So it's kind of like half happy baby in a seated position here. Then you can take your right shoulder under your right leg if you like. Make a kickstand with that right arm. And just deepening the hip opening by lifting up through the spine. So you feel that deep stretch in the right hip. Press your right arm into the back of the right thigh. And again, you just iterate. So we iterate to create more depth in each posture. So you might kind of feel the back around as you press that arm into the thigh. So then the next iteration, we lift up through the heart. Maybe the thigh comes back forward a little bit. So you iterate back and forth until you feel your deepest expression. And then we'll slowly start to bend that left knee underneath you. You can set the right foot down onto the mat. And again here, either with or without your hands, we're transferring the weight into the right foot, coming onto the left shin, hands touch down, standing splits now, a fuller expression. So weight is in the ball mound of that right foot, and we're stretching the back of that right leg, lifting the left leg high. Slowly touch the left foot down. Bring the big toes to touch. Lift the heels, ball pose. So stretching the feet here, maybe swaying the hips side to side. And then we'll transition back to a comfortable seat here. Let the legs stretch out long in front of you. Shake them out a little bit. And I want you to lift the hips, press into your hands, tilt the pelvis forward so you have this anterior tilt. You're on the very tips of your sitting bones. We'll reach the arms overhead, and as you exhale, fold over your legs any amount. So you might hit that point where it's sort of your intuitive edge, where you feel kind of the muscles tighten up in response to the sensation of the stretch. So you might stay there for a moment, and then with each breath, sending the signal that it's okay to let go, to relax a little deeper. And again, it's that iterative process. So each breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Each breath sends that signal, gives your body the okay to relax, to release, to let go. So again, we're aiming heart, belly, chest toward the thighs here. Keeping that spine nice and long. Even if you don't get to fold very far today, that's okay. You can engage the quads by pressing the backs of the knees down. So the deep, deep hamstring stretch. And then we'll slowly come back up. We're lowering down onto the back all the way in your own way. Hug the knees to the chest. Supine eagle pose now. Wrap your right knee over left, right arm under left. Find supine eagle. So here, not only a stretch, but an opportunity to sort of practice this posture with the element of balance taken out. So can you feel the magnetizing of your limbs into the center to the midline? Can you create broadening across the back of the shoulders, across the sacrum by hugging the elbows and knees in and then broadening the upper thigh bones, upper arm bones apart? We'll release the arms, keep the legs as they are. You can unravel the ankles and calves if you have them, so you still have the right leg crossed. And then we'll lower the shape of the legs to the left. Gaze over your right shoulder, eagle twist. So letting gravity do the work here to sink your legs down a little bit closer to the floor, facilitating that nice, easy passive twist in the lower back. Keep heaving your right shoulder towards the earth. Create a little bit of tone in the low belly. And then only when you're ready, come back up through center. Unravel the legs and switch sides. So take the left leg on top, right leg on bottom. Left arm on bottom, right arm on top. So it's sort of opposite arrangement in the arms and legs. And again, it's just another way that we can connect left and right brain in the shapes that we make with our bodies. Great time for that in the menstrual phase. So again, we're hugging the elbows into the midline, broadening the upper arm bones apart, hugging the knees into the midline, broadening the upper thigh bones apart. So lots of space in the upper back and the sacrum. And then release the arms and the ankles and shins if you have it, just keeping that cross at the knees. And then we'll shift, let the knees and the shape of the legs lower to the right, send your gaze to the left. Eagle twist. Feeling deep relaxation here. This is a great one to ease low back pain. And just allowing the upper back and the pelvis to move independently. So the rib cage and the pelvis to rotate and move freely. That can help unfreeze the spine and release tension. Slowly come back through center, unravel the legs. Bring the feet to the mat, take your arms down by your sides. One final posture here, we're coming into bridge pose. So lift your hips nice and high, engage the glutes, and then take your hands, tuck them under the sacrum. And you can bring the heels of your hands in, the fingers out and wrapping around so that you're pressing into the backs of the arms. So it's a supported bridge pose. Let your hips be heavy into your hands. And then create that stacking, loading angle so you have the wrists directly over the elbows and then the backs of the arms pressing down. Just kind of taking a moment to acknowledge what it feels like to literally hold yourself. You're holding your body right now in space. And gently release. Bring the soles of the feet to touch. Let the knees open apart. One hand to heart, one hand to belly. We'll just enjoy a brief resting period here to close out our sequenced stretch session. So staying committed to your breath as an asset, as a tool for really bringing the recovery process online. So it helps to reduce perceived stress. It helps to reduce the heart rate, all of which send that signal to your body that it's okay to start working on recovery efforts. It's okay to devote resources to things like immune system function, to digestion, to reproduction. That state of balance, homeostasis, that allows us to feel at home in our bodies. This is too much in your hips. You can always extend the legs out long or bring the knees in, toes out. And I encourage you, if you need it, if you want it, if you have time for it, to stay in this resting posture a little bit longer, just being with your breath. Otherwise, starting to make our very slow exit, rolling onto one side, taking your time, and then gently pressing up to a comfortable seat. Lifting up tall through the spine, giving yourself a moment, just like we did in the beginning, to scan from head to toe. So once again, looking for any change, any sensation that you feel, any areas that now feel a bit more spacious. Let's take a huge breath in together through the nose. Inhale. And exhale, sigh it out. I want to thank you for joining me for this recovery day practice. I hope that it supports your days off and helps you show up with the same consistency that you do to your more intense workouts so that we can ride the wave of our energy and the arcs of our hormones so that we maximize our potential in every phase. So that means we're not moving in a straight line. We're not keeping the same intensity throughout the cycle, but instead we get to work really hard and then we get to rest really hard. So it's that even quality that lets us experience kind of a wider spectrum in our bodies and in our workouts. So thank you for being here and for letting your body be moved.